Hello dear students, myself Niyati Thakur, and today I am going to present a lecture on physico-chemical properties of drugs. This particular topic comes in the course PP1 of SY Pharm. After listening to the lecture, the learner will understand what are physico-chemical properties of drugs. The learner will be able to also enlist different physico-chemical properties and their interdependence. Learner will be able to understand what is refraction, what is refractive index, what are the factors affecting refraction, Snell's law, and specific and molar refraction. So now let us continue with the lecture. First of all, let us define physico-chemical property. The ability of a chemical compound to elicit pharmacological or therapeutic effect is related to various physical and chemical properties of drugs. Combinedly, physical and chemical properties are called as physico-chemical properties. These properties provide better understanding of interrelationship between molecular structure and drug action. Characterization of physico-chemical properties attained strong interest in the pharmaceutical area and the research area. Complete knowledge of relevant therapeutic and physico-chemical property of drug is required to determine the proper formulation and delivery method of a drug. Physical properties of drug molecules along with simple chemical derivatization and degradation reactions play important role in design of analytical methods. Physico-chemical properties are additive properties as they are derived from the sum of properties of individual atoms or functional group in a molecule. They are constitutive and depend upon structure of atoms in a molecule. So in this slide we have seen what are physico-chemical properties. So physico-chemical properties are nothing but the physical and the chemical properties of drugs, and these physico-chemical properties of drugs are very important since they are interrelated to the drug action. So before starting of design of a new formulation or before going for analytical method for qualitative and quantitative estimation, the scientist should first study the physical and chemical properties of drugs. And a complete knowledge of such physical and chemical properties will help him to design a proper formulation and a proper delivery method. This slide tells you about how these physico-chemical properties are dependent or related to the formulation parameters and the routes of administration. So these are some of the physico-chemical properties like stability, solubility, the ionization constant, refractive index. Now all these are important to the design of formulation. Means these physico-chemical properties will determine which route of administration is suitable for that particular drug, whether it is oral or whether it is parenteral or whether it is in the form of aerosol. So the route of administration depends upon, or the selection of route of administration is highly dependent upon physicochemical properties of drugs. Like for example, solubility. If we want to design aqueous formulation and if the drug is not soluble in water, then again the formulation cannot be designed since solubility is the limitation. Similarly, the physicochemical properties of drug also define the manufacturing process, like for example blending, milling, grinding, compaction, etc. And all this together, that is the physicochemical properties, the route of administration and the method of manufacture, will define or determine the efficacy of the delivered drug. Now let us study some physicochemical properties which are very important from formulation point of view. The first one being solubility. As you know, drug can be soluble in aqueous medium as well as in non-aqueous medium. So the solubility will be highly influenced by the type of solvents you are utilizing, and then it will also define the kind of formulation or the dosage form as well as the route of administration. The next important physical property is refractive index. So refractive index, it is how the ray of light behaves or change its direction when it is moving from one medium to the other. Then we have optical rotation, that is whether the molecule rotates the light in dextro or levo form. Then we have dielectric constant, dipole moment of the molecule, partition coefficient, dissociation constant, hydrogen bonding, ionization, redox potential, complexation, surface activity like adsorption, protein binding of the drug inside the body as well as isosterism. So these are all physicochemical properties of the drug which should be studied during the pre-formulation studies. Out of which, as per your syllabus, the first one is refractive index. So we must have studied refractive index or phenomena of refraction in our 12th standard or 11th standard classes, right? So refractive index, it is expressed in the form of eta. So this symbol is called as eta. It is a dimensionless physical property of a substance. That means refractive index will not have any units or dimensions. It is specific, as you know, to a certain medium, like for example air, water, oil, diamond. So all these are mediums, and the refractive index of the substance will change as the medium changes. It is defined as the ratio speed of light in vacuum to its speed in the specific medium and expressed by eta is equal to c by v, where c is speed of light in vacuum and v is the velocity of light in a given medium. Now this refractive index, it is a property, as we know, physical property of the substance, and it is very well defined by Snell's law with relation between angle of incidence and angle of refraction. So what does Snell's law says? Eta, that is refractive index, is ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction, where I and R are angle of incidence and angle of refraction. In addition to the change in angle, the light velocity also changes between two phases or two media, and therefore refractive index can also be expressed as ratio of phase velocity of first medium to the phase velocity of second medium. So we know that if we consider two medium, like for example air and water, both the medium will have different densities, and therefore the speed at which the light travels in air to that in water will be different. So therefore eta, that is refractive index, is also defined in terms of velocity of light in two media. So eta is equal to Vi divided by Vr. So what is Vi? Velocity of light in first medium, and Vr will be velocity of light in the second medium. And in general, the first medium is always air, right? So Vi will be replaced by C. Why? Vi we consider as air always, okay, or vacuum. So here we can replace Vi by C, that is speed of light in vacuum, and Vr is taken as Vp, where Vp is phase velocity of second medium. And thus this Snell's law applies to optically isotropic systems. Isotropic means same kind of systems. The molecules are same, like for example gas, liquids, amorphous solids, crystalline materials having cubic symmetry, as the phase velocity and refractive index are equal in all directions. So for the substance to obey Snell's law, for the substance to obey Snell's law, the systems should be isotropic, that is of same kinds. The molecules should be of same. If it is a gas, for example hydrogen, okay, all the atoms will be of hydrogen. If it is a liquid, for example water, so all the molecules are of water. So such kind of isotropic systems are necessary to follow Snell's law. Now let us look at the image which explains the phenomena of refraction of light. So we have two mediums, as you can see, the white background and the blue background. So this is first medium and this one is the second medium. I have labeled it as substance 1 and substance 2. Now you can see the boundary or the interface between two medium. So when the ray of light travels from one medium to the other, it will bend to a certain angle. And if we draw normal or perpendicular with the interface, we will get angle of incidence with the normal and angle of refraction. So that is why we have incident ray and we also have the refracted ray. So you can see a little bit bending of the light when it travels from one medium to the other, And why that bending is there? Because the density of the medium is different. Substance 1 is having different density and substance 2 also has a different density. So you can say that when the light passes from a rarer medium to a denser medium, rarer medium means less denser medium, to a more denser medium, the law of refraction says sin I by sin r is equal to eta 2 by eta 1, where eta 2 is refractive index of second medium and eta 1 is refractive index of first medium or less denser medium. Now if I approaches 90 degree, if this I, that is angle of incidence, approach near about to 90 degree, what is sine of 90? Sine of 90 is 1. So this equation we can rewrite as sine of r is equal to eta 1 by eta 2. Now in this image you can see different phenomena that happen when the ray of light interacts with the matter. The first one is transmission. What is transmission? When the ray of light is incident upon a substance, part gets absorbed and part gets transmitted. So the amount of light that is not absorbed or unabsorbed is called as transmitted light, and therefore the phenomena is called as transmission. The next phenomena is reflection. So for reflection to occur, we require a polished or a very silvery kind of substance. So reflection, here what happens? The ray of light, it strikes onto the polished surface and it changes the direction. Next, coming to the refraction, so we can see the incident ray is bent at a certain angle when it passes from one denser medium to the medium which is having different density. The next one is diffraction. So for diffraction to occur, you require a small slit. You can see a small slit. The ray of light is incident upon this small slit or opening, and then it gets dispersed or it changes its direction in different ways. The next one is absorption. So in absorption, what happens? The light is absorbed by the molecule and there is change in its energy level, that is it jumps from lower energy level to the higher energy level. So that is called as absorption, and thus the intensity of the light that is coming out of the medium will be less as compared to the incident ray. Then we have one more phenomena which is called as scattering of light. So when the light is incident upon a particle, for example colloidal particle, what the particle will do? It will scatter the light in all directions. So that is called as scattering. Now knowing this all phenomena of interaction of light with the matter, let us come back to refractive index. Until now we have understood what is refractive index, what is refraction, what is Snell's law. Now let us study which are the factors affecting refractive index. The first and foremost factor is temperature. Now, students, can you tell me what happens to the density of medium with the increase in temperature? Will it remain the same? No. So, with the change in temperature, the density of medium changes. And hence, since the refractive index depends upon the density of medium, it will also change. Refractive index values are usually therefore determined at standard temperature. So whenever you are taking reading of refractive index of any analyte or any substance, you should take care that there is a thermometer that will always record the temperature of the room. Why? Because if the temperature changes, the refractive index also will change, and therefore control of temperature is very, very important. At higher temperature, the liquid becomes less dense and less viscous, and therefore the speed of light in such medium will be faster. And if the temperature is lower, the liquid becomes more denser and has higher viscosity, and thus cause light to travel in a slower in that medium. The results in smaller value for the refractive index due to smaller ratio. So if there is a small change in temperature, then even there will be very small change in the refractive index value. The second factor is wavelength of light used. The refractive index of transparent medium gradually decreases with the increasing wavelength. So if you are using any light, the ray of light, if it is not sunlight, but for example if it is a sodium lamp, then again the wavelength of light will influence the RI. The refractive index varies with wavelength because different wavelengths interfere to different extents with the atoms of the medium, and it is important to therefore use monochromatic light to prevent dispersion of light into different colors. So whenever we are using any lamps as a source of light, these lamps should emit wavelength that is monochromatic. Monochromatic means of single wavelength. The light that is coming from the lamp should be filtered or converted to a single wavelength by using of filters, and then only we should use this monochromatic light. Otherwise what will happen? Different wavelengths will interact differently with the substance whose refractive index has to be measured, and then the readings will be wrong. The next one is pressure. So what happens with the increase in pressure to the density? The refractive index of the substance increases with the pressure because of accompanying rise of density. This effect is more pronounced in gases rather than solids. So as pressure increases, the density also increases, and this is how the refractive index will be influenced by the pressure. Now there are two more terms which we need to study when we are studying refractive index as a physical property. The first term is specific refraction. So it is characterized by electronic polarization of unit mass of substance in the high frequency electromagnetic field of light wave. So you can say electronic polarization means the formation of dipoles when the substance come in contact with the light or electromagnetic field of a light wave. So again, specific refraction is resembled as Rs, and the formula is eta square minus 1 divided by eta square plus 2 into 1 by d, where d is density of medium. The next term is molar refraction. So it is a measure of total polarizability of 1 mole of substance, and it is dependent upon the temperature, the Ri and the pressure. What is the formula? It is resembled by Rm, and the formula is eta square minus 1 divided by eta square plus 2 into m divided by density, where m is the molecular weight. So to summarize today's lecture, we have seen what are physicochemical properties of drugs, how they are important for research and development departments, how we can formulate a good efficient product by understanding the physical and chemical properties of drug, how we can design a better method by knowing the physicochemical properties of drugs. Then we have seen which are the different physical and chemical properties we should know when we are formulating any formulation. We have also seen how the formulation parameters, how the route of administration is highly influenced by the physicochemical properties of drug, and then we have also seen the first physicochemical property, indeed, which is the physical property like the refractive index. The first one, we have defined refractive index, we have studied how it is expressed, we have seen what is Snell's law, we have also defined the other equations with respect to the velocity, we have seen what are the factors affecting refractive index and what is molar and specific refraction. I hope you have understood. If there is any doubt regarding this topic, we shall discuss it in the next lecture. Thank you.